Welcome back to Bitcoin Advisors channel. My name is Chris, bringing it to you here from Westlake Village, California. And today we're going to do a little bit different of a video today. We're going to talk about what the Fed said yesterday, some news in regards to Jeff Gundlach and Apple co-founder Steve Wozniak, who what they said about Bitcoin yesterday. We'll go over Bitcoin price action, but really I wanted to talk to you guys a little bit about why I started Bitcoin Advisors. And as most of you know, I've been a metals broker, precious metals, gold and silver over the last 13 years. And I started helping people put physical gold and silver in their IRA and 401k. And in 2017, a guy sitting next to me who was selling pizzas the month before said, "Hey, you ought to buy some Bitcoin." It was at $100. And I kind of laughed at him and said, "I'll never buy that magic internet money." And then I watched it go to $3,000. And I finally said, okay, I'm going to go ahead and cash in my 401k and throw 50 grand in some Bitcoin and never look back. And so the reason I founded Bitcoin Advisors was the basic idea that you can walk into Fidelity or Edward Jones or any family office and talk to somebody in person about traditional investments like stocks, bonds, mutual funds, annuities, right? But try to walk in there and talk to them about crypto, and they probably know less than you do, right? So at Bitcoin Advisors, we aim to give you the same experience, except for you can ask about crypto, Bitcoin, NFTs, blockchain, anything about crypto. We want to be your Fidelity in that respect. So if you think you might enjoy that experience, being able to pick up the phone and talk to somebody about what a limit order is or what a strategy might look like in regards to an entry point and an exit point and risk management, well, pick up the phone and call us, right? Talk to one of our friendly Bitcoin advisors. We're available 7 a.m. to 3 p.m. Monday through Friday. You can check out a link in the description below, and you can schedule an appointment or just pick up the phone and call. So now that that's out of the way, I did want to talk a little bit about what did the Fed say yesterday, right? And it was a very good Fed meeting. It started off a little bit dirty, but the SEP came in much worse than expected. And what is SEP? That is the Summary Economic Projections. So it came in at 2.8%. Bloomberg estimated 3.5%. Seeing a 2 in the front of that was not good. The market started to crash. Fears of stagflation and wage price spiral, bubbling up, and we basically recovered later in the meeting. The Fed funds rate was expected to be at 1.9% at the end of the year, and 7 more increases of 0.25%. Basically would put us at 1.75% by the end of the year for the Fed's fund rate. So we got 7 more. It's not 7 more. We just had, so there's 6 more. There's 7 meetings for the year. We just had the last one. So the Fed funds rate was expected to be 1.9%. If they only raise rates 0.25% for 6 more times, because they did raise it 0.25% yesterday, that would put us at 1.75% and giving us an upper bound rate of 2%. And really, it just came in right in line with expectations. However, they did say the range of the Fed's funds rate could be anywhere from 1.9% to 3%, which does suggest if inflation gets out of control, we could get some kind of a 0.5% or 50 basis point rate hike towards the end of summer, like July or August. And I do believe they said something like this, that the Fed is going to wait till all the data comes in, right? They're going to see all the numbers. And what that means basically is if inflation doesn't come down, right, they might bump us a 50 basis point rate hike. And that's bad for markets. Higher rates, bad for markets, bad for Bitcoin. And there was one Fed funds manager yesterday, Bullard, who did vote to raise rates by 50 basis points. This was the one and only one descending member. So higher rates and lower growth on GDP, markets were kind of freaking out. But Powell basically talked himself out, the silver-tongued Powell, and he said this. They said, we expect rates to rise 0.25% the rest of the year, the next 6 meetings. That means rates will rise steadily. That is the baseline expectation. And they also said the balance sheet reduction is coming. And he said that it would be familiar, which means basically they reduced the balance sheet by about $90 billion a month. And that's normal. The markets like familiar. Okay. So the S&P at 2.8%, they expected, what Powell said is they actually expected S&P, or, if you could say the GDP growth rate, right, to be at 2.1%. So Powell said, hey, look, it was actually better than we expected. So they don't expect a recession. They think that's highly unlikely. He also said the job market is very strong and we don't expect a wage price spiral. So that is in a nutshell what the Fed said yesterday. It was a very good meeting. And something else I'll point out is the S&P number came in at 2.8% for 2022. They're forecasting 2.2% for 2023 and 2% for 2024. So we actually had a higher number than expected. The markets like that. Bitcoin had a bounce yesterday. So did the Nasdaq. And that'll bring me on to our favorite topic here, Bitcoin's price action. So I'm going to jump right into it. And, that's why I threw on a few other topics here today. Bitcoin price action. The same thing that we've been talking about for some time is this. On a daily time frame, which I'm going to pull this up here. And we've been saying this. Look, conservative investors will wait for a daily closure above 46,000 to the upside. That'll get us our next major move up to around 52 to 55,000. And that is right in line with the, come on. Oh. That is going to be right in line with this 1618 Fibonacci number, which is kind of the first target after you break a major range to the upside. And that's coming in right there at 53,000. Okay. If we just do a bearish retracement and we take a look down, that is right at 25,000. So conservative investors are going to wait for a break of, call it 33,000 to the downside on a daily. Now, we did say yesterday, if you wanted to go ahead and front run that signal, you could wait for a daily closure above 44.4 or below 37,000 to the downside. And you could even move it up to 37,600 or so right here. So that is it for Bitcoin price action on our daily time frame. What else did we talk about yesterday was this signal here, which has produced nothing less than a 45% move in either direction. And remember, volatility has been extremely low. And one thing we do know in Bitcoin land is when volatility is low like this, that means an explosive move is coming. And, could this come a little bit lower? Yes. Could we, drown out a couple more weeks in this range here? Yes. But with the momentum indicator crossing to the upside, sitting here at 36,961, that would be to cross it back to the downside in the next that would be back to the downside in the next 5 days. So we have 5 more days until that will be closing, or 4 days and 7 hours. So could we chop it around for a bit more? Yes, I do think so. But that does give me a little bit more of a bullish bias. I will mediate that with a daily closure or a 5-day closure back above 44,300. But more realistically, a daily closure back above, call it 45, 46,000, somewhere in that range. That should get us a nice move to the upside here. If we took it from this point, let's say you front run the signal right here, somewhere down in this area along this bottom side trend line. That's 27% from there. Let's see if we took it from the bottom of the trend line. Let's say we come back down and test it one more time. So at 52,000, that's a 35% move. At 55,000, that's 45% to the upside. And that is right in line with the area where typically you see what's called a bull trap come in. What is a bull trap? It traps the bulls, right? So the bulls get really excited and they start going long. They think, oh, Bitcoin breaks above 51,000. And we're just off to the moon. We're back to $100,000 Bitcoin or $75,000 Bitcoin. But no, what we want to do is wait for Bitcoin to get a daily closure, or even better, a weekly closure back above 55,000. And then we want to see it hold. It can't just get up there and then break back below the 382, because very likely when we get back up there, there will be a pullback, at least back down to the 0.5. And we just want to see this area hold. So drawing this out into the future, if we come up here and then we come back down and then we put in another higher low right here, that's going to look good for Bitcoin doing something like this. However, if we come back up here and we go like this, and then we just get shafted right back down below the 382, that's going to be a very good, at least concept that a bull trap is playing out, and very, very likely Bitcoin spends some time doing this over the next, doing this, comes back down to 30,000, bounces out again, another lower high, bounces it. Oh, and then maybe comes and hits that $25,000 target somewhere around there. So that is how I'm looking at this market. This isn't financial advice. I'm not a financial advisor, right? I deal in the wild, wild west, the cryptocurrency land, the land for not the faint of heart. And so anything else I want to point out on Bitcoin price action? Let's take a look at our lower term time frames. And what do we have here? We have some lower highs and we've got some higher lows. So this is coming into a very wound up territory. And do we have any divergences playing out? No, not as far as I can see. To the upside and to the downside, no, I don't see any divergences there. Momentum is crossing back to the downside on the 4-hour, as long as we are closing below 41,155. And volatility is decreasing. So that means this is more of a corrective move. I don't see it as a major, massive move coming to the downside. Could Bitcoin come back down and test the 21 at 40,000, or even test support at 39,714? Yes, absolutely. I think that could happen. However, what else do I want to point out? What is Nasdaq doing? Nasdaq's up 20 today, had a huge day yesterday, up 500. And we did break this trend line on a 4-hour, which should give us a shot back to the top side of the range, at least somewhere around 14,263. How do we close on the daily? We got above the yellow 21, came back and tested the support almost. And that does look like we're going to get a shot up to the green 55. And why is that? We do have multiple drives of bullish divergence playing out here, 1, 2, 3. And that usually gives you a first target of the 21. If it breaks, then very likely we're going to hit that green 55 and then see what happens from there. So that is more in line. If Nasdaq plays out this bounce up to 14,400, I'd be willing to bet that Bitcoin at least plays out its bounce towards the top side of the range, somewhere between 44 and 45. And that is going to be the test, right? Where Bitcoin, if Bitcoin can break above this major trend line. What is the dollar doing? Let's take a look at the dollar. The dollar coming down, as we did say, that was perfectly okay. We are bullish on the dollar here, and any kind of a tick below here, I'm looking for the dollar to at least test 97.20. And do we have any divergences playing out? And yes, we have at least one drive, which that typically gives you a first target there. Do we have any more? Could you say that is two drives? Yep. I could say, the dollar could come down to 96 cents. That would look nice for Bitcoin, at least playing out the bounce that we are talking about. What else do we want to check in on? A lot of people like to check on Mr. Old Gold, and we did say yes yesterday. We were very, very likely going to come down back to the 9 exponential, which is coming in right here at 1903. We got that test, and we're getting a bit of a bounce. If we do close the week like this is a bearish candle, and we won't be closing this one for another 1 day and 5 hours. So that'll close on Friday afternoon. And I would expect maybe a retest of that 9 exponential. Totally fine to come down here to 1875 as well. But I am longer term bullish and looking for gold at some point this year to make a new all-time high, as we came very, very close, but I don't believe we actually took out the last prior high at $2,074.95. We came very, very close. So that's it for gold. Gold, playing out a little bit of a profit taking for the people that went long down here. Okay. What else do we want to check in on? Luna, which we've been talking about for some time now. Luna has been the darling of the market, the one that has just climbed, and, just over the past year has been very, very good. It does look like, we've been trapped in this zone here for, I'd say, the past couple of days, trading between, 87 and 91, even got up to 95 here the other day, but there's a couple drives of bearish divergence, at least 2 drives, and that typically gets you a move down to that yellow 21. So could that play out? Yes. If the daily wants to close anywhere below this last daily low, I'd expect the 21 to get hit. However, if we do close above it today, somewhere, anywhere above 90, call it 91, that would look like another higher low getting put in place. And this trend line, I believe, is more obvious on the 4-hour time frame. And very similar to Bitcoin, it looks like this. And so are we already, kind of losing it right there? Could you draw it more like that, coming back from here? I mean, just a very, we're getting knocked back here 1, 2, 3, 4 times at, call it $90. So, bears pushing it back down, bulls taking it back up. I think if Bitcoin breaks to the top side of the range, then, this one probably revisits the top side of the range. Do I think we're going to make new all-time highs today? No. Maybe alongside Bitcoin breaking the range of 45.5, or 45,000. If that does happen, I would expect this one to at least come back and probably shoot for those new all-time highs. Those new all-time highs. And what is our target for this guy which we already did make a new all-time high on this one, unlike Bitcoin. Bitcoin didn't make a new all-time high, but unlike gold, right, we did have a tick above and a daily closure above. So technically, we're looking for that blue sky breakout, but it really didn't confirm. So patience is kind of the name of the game right now, as most of these coins will do whatever Bitcoin does. And what else? So yeah, how would this is just a long consolidation, and the breakout level, we would go like this. And that gives us a target of 134 with a daily closure above this guy. And I would be looking for 134 to get hit. And then probably over the next few months, you know, we could go up there as long as these areas don't break back down. And yeah, so that's it for Luna. Fantom has been getting knocked back over and over and over. FTM, one of the founders, left. We are looking at a daily death cross coming in right here. Where are the best death crosses? That's when the 50-day moving exponential average, that's the 55 and the 200 cross. And when's the last time that happened? Never for this asset class because it is so new. So do I think we're more likely to come down and fill out this wick than go up? I would actually say if Bitcoin plays out the bounce, we might come up to this 21 or even this 55. And then, yes, I think this level probably does get reached. It looks pretty weak. Pretty weak as for kind of what you know, let's do a fib right here and see. Yeah, so that target is right in line with that 1618 fib coming in at 87 cents. So I have been saying this. Yeah, if we come up to the green 55, very easy way to go short and manage risk. Because, anyways, that's kind of the area I'd be watching for. Alongside Bitcoin playing out any kind of weakness. Okay. What other coin I wanted to cover today? I just want to take a peek at Solana, which a lot of people, big fan of Solana, had a really nice run this year. I know a lot of people really enjoyed this one. And on the daily time frame, it has been looking rather weak. But we are having volatility turn up from a very low level right here. We've got our momentum crossing to the upside. We're getting out of the bearish control zone. However, do we have any bearish divergence forming at this point? So as you can see, we've got 1, 2 higher highs. This is not a confirmed higher high yet. Yep, even going back here, that would be 1, 2, 3 drives. So if we do confirm this as a local high, which forgive me that it is much harder to see than I'm sure you would find beneficial. Let's see again. This is a high. And that would be 1, 2, 3. So 3 drives of bearish divergence. However, do we have bullish divergence on the other side? Yes, we do. 1, 2, 3 higher lows. So I do believe this one does have a shot towards the green 55. However, if the rally fails here, and we put in another lower high somewhere around here, I would expect this one to get shafted back down to the bottom side of the range. And if we just measure this out right here, so it does look like Solana wants to come back up here. If we do take a look at this descending triangle, which I might even draw it more like this. The technical target to the downside, that's $55, $54. To the upside here, and I would wait for a break above the green 55. That gets you a play up to, 121, 123. So what's an easy way to look at this with a fib retracement? The bullish retracement has a technical target with a break above here of 115 to the upside, and to the downside, we are looking at $59. So I think those are some reasonable targets. And then, we'll see if we play out the bounce and move back up, or vice versa if we play out the bounce and, kind of break back down. So that's it for altcoins today. I don't know. Maybe should we look at Ethereum? Ethereum's kind of doing the same thing as Solana, putting in these lower highs here. How would I draw this one out real quick? Ethereum is going to do whatever Bitcoin does. It's been a little bit weaker lately. And how can we draw this out? So we got these trend lines coming in right here. And some people might front run it with a daily closure back above this guy right here. I'd personally be waiting for 3,000 bucks. Any kind of a break above 3,000, and the next target is going to be at 3,400 to the upside. Let's see if that lines up the measure move on this asset. Oh, what do you know? It lines up perfectly to the upside and then to the downside, which, by the way, these descending triangles typically break to the upside when they are 75% full. When would that come? Somewhere in the end of March, which that's probably right in line with Bitcoin when it decides to break up or to the downside. The downside target, 1825. So that's Ethereum. Anywhere else do we want to look at anything out? We covered Fantom, Luna, Solana, and Ethereum. I think that's it for today. Thank you guys so much for watching. Remember, we're not financial advisors. This isn't financial advice. If you did enjoy the daily analysis, please go ahead and like the video, hit subscribe, and you'll get all the future updates and other resources we drop. Also, if you're interested in learning about how to incorporate Bitcoin or other cryptos in your IRA, there is a link in the description below. Thanks a lot. Have a blessed day. Take care.